What's cracking, guys? It is Blast Making the Cast, episode 3. I couldn't rhyme it with Connor. I didn't know how to rhyme that with Connor.
Almost.
What's going on, Scrawny? I saw Scrawny would have set that up in a cast. He would have found a word to rhyme it with. I'm not that guy. I'm the dry, boring, dull analyst that comes in afterwards.
You gave it a
break
shot,
it down
though.
with no rhythm. Yeah, I tried.
Yeah,
Opportunity presented itself. It didn't. I didn't pull up clutch. I didn't pull up like Kawhi in Game 7. So, what is going on, Connor? Today we are doing a really funny and very special Making the Cast where we're going to be talking about Anders and Semler casting together, but contrasting it with Anders and Semler of the past. So at Blast, it was their first time in 4 years casting together this past spring series. And we're going to be looking at a couple of those games, as well as some games from 2014-ish, and seeing what the differences are. I mean, maybe in their cast, in the mics, in the games, it all looks so crazy and different. It's going to be really interesting today.
I think in the mics is a big one. I when we went back and started kind of digging around for clips in the past, I didn't realize how incredibly bad Counter-Strike sounded.
Yeah.
Like whether it's the production or just the gun sounds. But yeah, a big blast to the past here in episode 3.
You can go ahead and take it away. I think set the stage for us. What are we going to look at?
Set the stage. Well, I feel like, listen, we did the new age Anders with Moses last week. So if we were throwing in Semler here in episode 3, I think that it is impossible or probably illegal at this point to talk about Semler without mentioning
They're scared about this.
The happy ace.
They aren't rushing this time around. They're taking their sweet time, hoping to catch somebody peek on Envy's side. And, well, that's what happens when you go around the corner. Happy with Wandig. Oh, and another one! Oh, and a third! Happy! He could get another one here, too. Dupree is, like, sweating bullets. Happy's gonna get the quad kill in the ace! What is this?
Just so good.
Voted number 1 greatest Counter-Strike moment, CSGO moment in history. And you better believe that without a cast in that moment, there's no way it would have even come close. There's just no way. If that was played off a demo, it wouldn't even matter. The cast was pivotal.
Yeah, hands down, the cast makes that one. I mean, it's just got everything, right? Like, I think when last week we started dissecting Moses a little bit, I was praising his well-roundedness and like his consistency and whatnot. And I think that if we're trying to dissect commentary, then I think that what you specialize in with Semler is shifting. And that's going to be a theme across the 3 clips I brought in this week. It's Semler's ability to shift. And that's shifting gears and hype, shifting levels of excitement. This one's just so good because you get those 5 stages. Like it's so clear. And yeah, he sits around in the third a little bit because Dupree was sweating bullets. But it's just so smooth when you get these incredible shots one after the other. I mean, any of those smoke wall bangs, right? Mm-hmm. Any of those kills is worthy of like a little bit of a screaming woo praise. Like you just got to let the cast go. Like it merits it. But to have each and every one of those crazy moments, I mean, this is just an example of like one of the best moments in Counter-Strike history. And if you finish out what remains of that clip too, you even hear Anders say like, wow, that will be a historic round of Counter-Strike. There's no doubt in my mind. And he called it right then. And, this is from 2015 and it's still praised as one of the all-time moments. And I think this is something that's great about this clip too, is like, again, you mentioned it, that it's the cast that makes it, but remember that moments like that come so rarely that, yeah. And he nailed it. And that's got to be such a glorious feeling. I mean, it is a glorious feeling as a commentator when you get one of those once in X amount of time type situations and you just can hit it out of the park, man. 10 on 10.
Yeah.
So I want to listen to it again.
Yeah, go for it.
Scared about this. They aren't rushing this time around. They're taking their sweet time, hoping to catch somebody peek on Envy's side. And, well, that's what happens when you go around the corner. Happy with Wandig. Oh, and another one! Oh, and a third! Happy! He could get another one here, too. Dupree is, like, sweating bullets. Happy's gonna get the quad kill in the ace! What is this?
You think it's gonna end at some point, so you're constantly thinking like, how do I ramp down after this? And it's just, I think with Semler, I think the charm of Semler is he'll just jump to 90% in the cast like right away, and then he gets caught off guard. And then here you give him 4 more kills after he's already at 90%, so he goes like
Right.
100%, 110%, 120%, and then he's exasperated and he's just trying to react.
Yeah.
And that's why he is the voice of the people. He's mirroring exactly how you feel. Just completely out of your mind. No way you could expect it. He's not pretending to be a professional. He's just being an audience member and just being taken away by the moment. And even fit in a line like he's sweating bullets right now.
Sweating bullets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that he hits a point in that as well after the 3rd kill where there's almost that like it's gone too far, but he reels it in like he just kind of idles in 3rd gear after that second through the smoke kill before Dupree gets dropped down. And you say like Semler's a man of the people. Well, I'm just gonna there's 9 seconds left on this. Like he goes from what is one of the most historic moments ever to just being so real.
I think I just broke my chair. I might need a new one.
Yep.
I think I actually did just break my chair. Hold on, let me get a new one.
Was it with his ass? Did he fart? Like no one knows how he broke his chair that day, but it could be. Yeah, we do get animated.
Yeah.
He could have been standing up, could have kicked it. He could have been slamming the armrests. There's a number of ways in which he could have broke his chair.
And I don't doubt that he did, like that's Semler. He's right there with you. You're right there with him. And so to kick off today's discussion, Mohan, I feel like we had to revisit the best of the best, and we got it out of the gate right away.
Yeah, it's something is nice about, I mean, everything sounded shitty like in 2014, 2015. But at the same time, it also sounded amazing how raw that some of the crowd mics were. And it feels like some of the
100%.
most annoying crowd mics have come recently for some reason. Like the ones, they just stand out. The crowd stand out so much more in a worse way. Whereas before it just used to be pure cheering. And now it feels like there's some crowds. It just feels like that you can hear like either the bias or the one guy yelling more than ever. But back then it was actually just felt like even bigger stadiums somehow, like all the Colognes in the past, which is, I don't know how that works, but I really want to kind of capture that sound again, because we've been in the green room. I think Anders has shown me a video from the past and just been like, why doesn't it feel like this anymore in some way? Because it feels a bit neutered. And I think it's for the sake that you have like better audio, some more compressed audio, more tame, more neutered, but more sterile, not really as raw as it was before. And I think that it needs to come back to that a little bit, if possible. Do you want to look at like one of the clips comparing their new cast to that too before we switch over? Because I feel like this the whole discussion, or just kind of all the clips we're watching, I think the real beauty of it is in the comparisons.
Right, is in the time traveling that we can do across 5 years. Let's do it. So I'll bring up, I mean, my comparison was I was looking through the more recent times with these guys in London. And obviously the moment that stood out to me was the fact that Semler almost got another one of these crazy clips. And this time it's another Inferno moment. I'm trying to get the time exact. There we go. It's another Inferno moment. It's NBK's Happy Deagle attempt. And I think it's cool. Again, I mentioned shifting with Semler, and this is another time where he shifts very nicely.
This was on Inferno, right?
Inferno 4K
like
from
default.
A-Pit.
Yeah.
Yep. And it plays into like there's like 35 seconds in the round. Anders and this is classic. Anders and Semler, they're still cracking jokes at like right before the execute. So you hear Semler kind of take control of the moment and really want to like get into the cast quickly. And then he is just gifted. Remember, this is the second round of the game. You said it, like he'll jump to 90% when he needs to. And I had to appreciate that when we were digging through this episode, was like, damn, man, Semler does bring that energy right away. Like once the game's rolling, he's on too. So round 2 of the match. Nice attempt, NBK. Play.
Is it playing?
It's not playing for me.
It's not playing for me either.
Hold on.
Nathan, is it playing for you? It says Krabby Fish, and it's loaded about 20%. What a blue ball!
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is
it's playing
it?
now, but it's a little bit further back. So maybe
It's
you'll
not
catch
playing
up.
for me.
No?
No.
Hold on.
Wait, try it again.
Here you go.
Here we go.
Ah. I see a buffering. The
A very good
technology.
guess. Yeah.
The technology has failed us.
Yeah, this website is like good and bad, but it feels like I couldn't even get my videos to work on this.
Here
Oh,
we
there
go.
Finds one, gets a third, looking for it, and he gets the point as well.
I love that he interrupts himself. I love that.
Yeah.
All on Cirque.
Are you referring to the when he cuts a third? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I feel like I do that. I
yeah,
feel like I do that. I think it's like
yes.
I love that.
And that's so difficult, right? That's I mean, damn, you took the words out of my mouth, Launders. That was the point of this clip that I love to praise is that it's incredibly difficult to cut yourself short when you are mid-word, let alone mid-sentence as a caster.
Mhm.
And he does that because he knows that like this play has gone from just okay, they ran into it. They're running, the first two guys on balcony, like good for him for keeping them within the balcony. They don't get a chance to drop down. He's still in a good position to just snap his crosshair and anticipate that short peek. Like he had to make quick work of the players on balcony in order to position himself into a spot where he could go God mode and make this, a next level clip. So Semler's just going through par for the course. Once those 2 kills happen, it's like, yeah, you've got to be talking about them, obviously. But the crucial one is that snap one shot headshot. And it's so
kill,
yeah, it justifies him.
The reaction is like the most valuable right when the kill happens. So that sync between him getting that kill and you just like being loud right there is so important. And sometimes you're in the middle of a different kind of sentence because again we don't know what's going to happen. But once again, Semler allows himself to be taken away and just catch on to that. And it's something about it's like the same appeal of watching something live versus watching something pre-recorded where you know what's going to happen. When it's live, it just feels more courageous to try to just like repurpose your sentence to suit whatever's happening in front of you. It's like the same appreciation you'd have for a freestyle versus a written verse. A written verse might be better or could be better, but then the freestyle might be more impressive, even if it's not as sexy because it's on the spot. And
Yep.
I think that's also makes it cool.
Yeah, something being live is just, I mean, that's one of like the biggest layers of context, I feel like. And that's why sometimes, I always feel this way. I felt this way when we went back and in episode 1, we're kind of reviewing that MIBR and Liquid game on Vertigo. Like by the time you and I got into second overtime, so many ridiculous things had like stacked on top of each other to get to that moment that it was all at the window. That's a 10 on 10 full crank moment. That was one of the most exciting casts we've ever had. And I tried to make it sound that way. But if you go back and look at it and you're no longer in that environment, you're no longer, within the moment of those stacking layers, like it's easier to question it. But at the time when it was live, dude, 100% deserved it. And if you weren't there to watch that live, then I feel like you're more likely to have that reaction as well. So I agree wholeheartedly, man. It's the live context is everything.
So I've got like a couple of games. One was from Cologne in 2014, and then I have the EG versus OG match where OG like won in map 3. I just have a clip from here, and this is mostly just the contrast what happened before because I've got a few clips from the old game. So this is kind of one round that shows Anders and Semler casting well together with great rhythm and with a lot of the modern techniques that we've gotten better at over the years. It's not incredibly sexy in terms of any like one hype moment, just a nice handoff, good rhythm, holding a beat, if you will. And I'll just play that because I want to, and then I want to play the old clip like right away, just so you can see how much has changed. That'll be the point of this one.
No, I don't have anything.
Oh, it's not playing?
No. I wasn't sure if you were waiting it out as well.
Yeah,
they
I
were
wasn't
trying
sure.
to fight this, still sticking.
It's starting
It's
to
not-
play. It's starting to jump around now.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it back a little bit then.
Cool.
All right, let's try again. Let me know if this plays.
I see 15-14 EGOG.
Oh, as soon as I hit play, everyone starts buffering.
Shout it from the rooftops, man.
Fuck, dude. How's that? Does that
Time
work?
that's slightly
Yeah,
better
we're
between
live.
Eater and Alexi. He would have been gone immediately. No connections down the middle. Double orb on the CT side. EG fighting close this out in regulation. And OG trying to see if they could bring it into overtime. Would be
OG.
fitting for the series, wouldn't it? They're out long. A little bit of noise being made. Breeze. Oh, he goes down. And now a return. Ethan there with the AWP. He's trying to get another flick. He's got some backup in Tarek, actually. They've got 3 people here. Are they thinking about it? They almost look like they want to try and fight this. Still sticking around, but now they are going to fall back. Stan is alone at B, so that's a bit uncomfortable. But they're going to go for a boost up here. What a way to start a round.
All-out brawl.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna use this, and then just the next part. Semler has a good section too, and that's just Anders holding it together for so long. Like he's kept the rhythm for so long. When you look back at this 2014 clip, which is switched over to now, like Anders is not confident enough at this time to keep a play-by-play moment going that long. The handoff comes a lot faster. He'll hold that kind of a cadence for like a sentence, half a sentence, and then go back to just speaking. He doesn't really feel like he can just keep it going for as long as the moment will let it ride. So this is the Freiburg. So I actually reference this a lot when I cast, and it's the Freiburg. When I say a player turns an entry into an ace, it's always a reference to this moment where Freiburg turns an entry into an ace at ESL 1 Cologne.
Really well here on the final map.
Now they're actually starting to push down a little bit. The original nades there thrown by Nip to try and hold them back. Olafmeister will find the shot on Exist. Freiburg does return, picks off Pronax. He's still here though, and he's going for more. 2 big frags. The third man is here, however, and Freiburg has to back off. But Freiburg somehow opens it up single-handedly. All 3 frags, but the bomb is on the other
So
side.
vintage.
Yeah, but that could be all right. Fnatic are making a huge rotation.
Look how young Anders
Freiburg has
sounds.
to stay alive, and it's going to be great. Oh, he picks up a quad kill. He could do even better than staying alive.
He sounds so
Gets the kill
Danish.
now.
He could
Yeah.
do even better.
Going to be ace with 5 HP. That's what's on the plate right now for Freiburg. JW, on the other hand, has quite a different menu to chew through here. He's got a 1-on-3 with an AWP. He gets the right bomb site, but the bomb goes down. So now he not only has to kill 3 members of NIP, he also has to defuse the bomb. And I'm wondering if it isn't smarter at this point, try and find a way out. But from the depths, Freiburg, like a hungry shark, just inching his way forward here. He wants that ace, and that would be absolutely brutal. Fnatic, that could really rock them. Freiburg comes in, he sprays, Freiburg misses, and it's the ace! He picks it up single-handedly!
Look how happy Freiburg is to get that ace. It's like the shittiest ending to an ace of all time. Nobody gets that excited anymore. Players, casters, people, like there's no, you need to get our dicks to move these days. You have to have like the craziest shit happen ever. And this, it just doesn't happen like this anymore. An ace that's this far extended, it's kind of just in the middle of the game. It's not even that big of a deal. It's like, doesn't even signify the comeback yet. And they clearly let him have the ace. Like he went on this like absolutely arduous flank through into library to find somebody, missed a bad spray, and then still got the kill. And everyone's like losing their minds. And the casters are setting it up. It's just like even in a grand final, people don't get excited this excited anymore. And the cast is still great though. Like these are still the 2 best casters of this time.
100%.
They've changed so much to get to this point today, or they obviously sound better. Like Anders, his voice is so high here. And Semler's voice is so high. Semler always talks kind of in his throat. It's just like his style. But Anders has come down like quite a bit in the last couple of years. And maybe it's a part of him getting older, his voice developing as well. But definitely there's been like some cognizant, there's been some cognizant, like, or what am I trying to say? Deliberate changes to the way he speaks. And he's also someone who I think a lot of people didn't know he was Danish. And in this clip, like you can really hear it.
Yeah,
you can really hear it. This plays like it's like he's like Danish Arnold Schwarzenegger here. Let me play this.
Sounds like Glaive after Pro League finals.
Yeah, but that could be all right. Fnatic are making a huge rotation. Freiburg, all he has to do is stay alive, and it's going to be great. Oh, he picks up a quad kill. He could do even better than staying alive.
He could do even better. It's funny because
the most Danish he's ever sounded, ever.
Because you've never heard that since, I feel like. You know, like
No.
that accent is so gone by now.
Yeah. And he specifically worked it out of the way he spoke. He didn't want to sound this, not to say the Danish, they didn't want to sound Danish, but I think the accent was something he specifically made to sound like unique. It almost sounds like he has it's like a slight British influence on a Danish accent or something, but it's not quite anything. And I think he was trying to go for that, but here it slipped through. This is when we found out you were Danish, Anders.
I would say as well with this deep dive we've done, I think that all of the clips from this episode are going to be evidence that one of the hardest things you can do as a caster, I think, is find your conversational voice within your commentary. Like when they're just talking, you know, it doesn't sound as good as it does now. Like you're saying, bringing down tones, bringing down your voices, speaking from your diaphragm and stuff. It's like these small, fine-tuned and honed in on skills actually make a world of difference when you hear just the quality of the audio, and I'd say even like the calmness. You know, I don't think that any of these commentators, guys who were around back in 2014, 2015, I don't think any of them are ever nervous in the conversational moments of a broadcast anymore. You know, I think it's got to take something. It's got to take a big stage or a big crowd or whatever, not to kind of shake them a bit, and that's good for them at times, because it just means that it sounds nonchalant. It sounds like another day in the office, and that's what you want. You know, you want the professional at his desk. And in these clips, you can hear that at times where it's you know, it's a little rushed when they're still just talking, or yeah, it's so much more fine-tuned now. I realize these guys have half a decade of experience.
Yeah, fucking boomers. Bunch of boomers.
Hot damn. All right. Did you have more from your first clip, or did you want me to you got more to this one?
I basically just have two more moments from Cologne, because I was just on this like nostalgia spree, because I started to remember. Did you even play Counter-Strike at the time in 2014?
Yeah, so I came into CS and started watching at the Katowice 2014 major.
Okay, and Katowice would have been before Cologne, so you watched Cologne then. You watched
Probably.
This? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It would have been around the time that you like started watching.
Just getting into it all.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I just for me it was just like it just started coming back to me, because I remember it used to be a big day, right? It used to be a big day. Grand final, you'd really book the day off. I mean, now it's like a major final, you'd do that. Like you could clear your schedule if you had like other plans. Be like, no, I got to watch the major today. But now for like any old grand final, it's not as big of a deal. And back then, I mean, it was like the storylines are so much more intense. There wasn't as many top teams. NIP, Fnatic was a treat to watch. Like everyone was still holding on to the NIP era very hard. You know, them coming to actually win this grand final was such a big deal. So, but those circumstances, and then just how the crowd felt and how the casters felt, and it was just such a big nostalgia trip for me. So I ended up going and just watching basically the whole VOD. I watched a few of the VODs from the Blast Spring series, but nothing really did it for me like this Cologne VOD. So I just grabbed a couple more things from here to take us down nostalgia lane. But yeah, go ahead with the whatever you have next.
Sure, let's do it. So if we swap back, I did find one thing from London, because I kind of felt you here, man. Like it's the nostalgic trip, and I don't know if it's the element of nostalgia that really makes the deep dive that much better, but it hits. And I found something here that was earlier in the same series. So back on map 1. And this is just legit. Again, like I went with the early games because that's something that I love about Semler, is like he's so good at. I mean, first of all, we have to just again state it for everyone, but he is one of the most like charismatic Counter-Strike commentators we have. Like in terms of his individual just style and his character, like he's up there with like Machine. He's a human being still, but he's like one that I've never met. You know, like there's nobody else I've ever met like him.
He's the James Bardolph of casters.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Or maybe rather the better way to put it is like there are so many unique commentators, but Semler is definitely at that top of that list. And so the point being is I think that specifically his pregame, like I'm not going to show it, but to preface this moment, they got stuck in a technical pause before this pistol went live on map 2. And some commentators absolutely dread filling time. It can be super difficult if you don't have a match that necessarily has given you anything to talk about. It's even worse when it happens before map 1. So luckily these guys talked about it. They talked about
what a lot of people don't know is that sometimes we fight with producers to just try to fill, because nobody wants to go to a break, especially if you're going to come back in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It's better to hold the attention of people if you can. So we just like try to riff. If there's absolutely nothing funny to say and it ends up being a fucking microphone issue, it turns into a keyboard issue, it turns into somebody's like dog died, then eventually we have to go to a break. But otherwise we'll
hold it. We
want to like try to fill it as long as possible.
I mean, especially when you're prepped for it. Like if you haven't had to do it for a while, then it's really not an issue. Sometimes you'll get a tournament that's just plagued with them, and that's when it can be a bit of a grind. But regardless, they had just done their whole spiel, and then they come into the pistol, and the energy is great. And I'm going to play it once through first and foremost.
Some fire going if they need it. Cirque is already over at the A ramp, and he has not got a P250, which I find to be really annoying. Could be cool to see him snipe away, but they do have 2 of them on the T side, so they can actually go head to head with these USPs.
Looking for the headshot. He said doesn't connect. Mantu, though, continues his streak. Finds one to kick things off here in the pistol, and it's looking like more. Perfect. The crossfire couldn't get any cleaner. Do we get the flawless round? No. Cirque denies him. 2 kills for him.
So that right there, the crossfire inside a jungle. This is the drawn out sentence technique that I'm a huge fan of. It saves me more than once. And in this instance, I think it saves Semler twice, because he does the advanced version, and that is strings a sentence together. But has these pauses not only like you normally would use it to save yourself when you get into a weird sentence and want to close it. But he does this both before and after. So there's a 3-piece, right? It comes in with Mantu, though, continues his streak, finds one to kick things off here in the pistol, and it's looking like more. Like that's when he knows there's going to be this crunch inside of jungle. And that jungle crunch, it's probably going to result in whoever picks up the pistol, right? So that's why you hear the hype after that moment drop off, because it falls into the 1 versus 3 that Cirque doesn't even end up winning. And he resets and recomposes really nicely, but that's not what's important. To me, the pinnacle of this moment and what's so good is once you get those quick 2 headshots, it is as simple as commentating that in 1 word. He just goes perfect.
The
crossfire.
Chef's kiss.
Yep. Because if it's just perfect, you don't know what the subject is. What is perfect? The crossfire couldn't get any cleaner with the 3rd kill. It's like he has broken that sentence into 3. It's almost like he's framed the sentence before he even knows what he's going to say, because he just starts it with perfect. Because first and foremost, it is perfect. What's perfect? The crossfire. It's so perfect, it couldn't get any cleaner. It just pieces itself together so nicely. And you've got to be relaxed to pull off things like that. I think you can't be rushing your words out. You can't be stuck in those like.
It's so easy to sound robotic when you're if you're nervous, you're gonna sound robotic. But Semler always sounds real. Like he always sounds like he's having a conversation. Yeah, which is the best part about him, I think.
So yeah, and there's another detail here. I don't know if it's purposeful, but I'm somebody who I constantly try to think about my breathing. Like when am I getting my air for drawn out moments? And this is one of those times where it actually, it couples as like a sharp turn of events, because they almost get caught in the bottom of connector, right? You almost get that duel before it's an actual crossfire, before it's a set piece. You've just got a guy looking at the base of connector and he's about to get double peak, and you hear Semler go with the sharp inhale, and that's going to give him the breath that he needs to get through the rest of this play. So listen for that. And then again, just how he just it's almost like he lets the play unfold, and then he's just picking up the pieces. Ooh, piece of candy. ooh, piece of candy. And he gets through what is a sick crossfire, man.
Some
5
fire
second
going
rule.
if they need
Yeah.
it. Cirque is already over at the A ramp, and he has not got a P250, which I find to be really annoying. Could be cool to see him snipe away, but they do have 2 of them on the T side, so they can actually go head to head with these USPs.
Looking for the headshot. He said doesn't connect. Mantu, though, continues his streak. Finds one to kick things off here in the pistol, and it's looking like more. Perfect. The crossfire couldn't get any cleaner. Do we get the flawless round? No. Cirque denies him. 2 kills for him.
2 kills for him. And then he gets nothing, you know? So again, like this is a good example of downshifting. Semler has the pinnacle of the moment in the crossfire, draws out some words, which again is a great technique to do when there's a lot of things happening at any one time, and you've got to like just kind of stall, and then shifts right back into Cirque's 1v3 attempt. I like that he changes up his pacing too. We heard that with your last clip from Anders, where you get into these like really quick, fast speaking moments because you've got to get a lot of information across, and then you just slow it back down again. And he does that. Like, he's ready for that. And any good commentator is gonna, you know, be able to shift into that when he needs to. And Semler's given us examples of it here.
I think that's I think that's a good segue. I have Semler casting a JW. It's like a failed defuse, and he always obviously is gonna cast it as if a crazy thing will happen. And then this is him kind of displaying his rhythm basically, because you were just I didn't realize I actually watched the same clip as you because I watched that whole VOD as well. So I saw that pistol round, but I didn't catch it at the time. But there's that Semler's rhythm is kind of like a very short meter of da 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 da, and it like leaves him open to be able to like catch a really, really high moment all the time. Some people's rhythms are a bit longer, and then they just ride and they'll ignore crazy thing, and then they'll pick it up right after or whenever it fits. And so here is listening to Semler's kind of casting cadence and rhythm in a clutch moment. If it loads, of course. If it loads, that would be key. I think that'd be the key factor. If it doesn't load, then that wouldn't work out too well.
Have the health advantage and get right, just caught with his knife out, but Freiburg strikes right back with 8 HP, picks up 1 frag, and turns this into a 2-on-2 JW. He knows that he's going to need the bullets. Reloads, and Pronex and JW now have to move in together and just overwhelm this so very quickly. The smoke going to go down to cut the man off from Flowers. Spray going through, but it's not going to do anything. Existent Ninja, aptly named, he's standing his ground. He gets 1 frag, turns it into a 1v1. JW running out of time. Does he have it? He does not. There is no time for the defuse, and Nip will take the 3rd round on the board.
Yeah, I've never heard it so pronounced as I heard it in that clip, where it was like da 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 da, all the way up until the very end. But yeah, he was just writing it. I think at this time, a lot of people are finding out what their rhythm was.
Yeah, think about the fact that these guys were carving out Counter-Strike commentary at the time.
Yeah.
You know, and if you look at different games, like I'm always jealous of some of the MOBAs because you get these long drawn out team fights. You get all the ability usage, you get all the ability names, you know, he throws Shark Tornado into, you know, and as a play by, I don't know.
Yo, shout out to Captain Flowers. I remember once in an event you showed me a clip where you're like, this guy's League of Legends casting is really sick. That was Captain Flowers. Yeah, he's killing it. And yeah, they get the opportunity to have like a 40-second.
Yeah, and it just keeps going.
Fucking
right?
Warcraft style battle.
And you don't get those in Counter-Strike too often. Like the formula can be there. You know, if you've got a 5v5, 4v4 post plant, something along those lines, and then you just get a trade frag back and forth, and it's not all these like crescendo moments. You know, if it's constant waves as opposed to just one crashing peak, then as CSGO casters, we kind of get that chance. But you have to remember, these guys are commentating in a time where like, you know, you're still feeling out what the limitations of this game's commentary are. And again, at the same time, they're also commentating at a time where the stakes have never been higher, and you don't know how much bigger it could ever get. So like, for all you know, this could have been the peak.
Yeah. That back then, tablets were still made of stone, and you had to ask directions because Google Maps didn't exist. It was a different time.
And they were out there, man. So yeah, I see what you mean with the rhythm. And it's not easy either to keep that 3-word spurt, moving. Back into the ninja, and it's aptly named. Diggity that, and he doesn't have time. So that's a good moment, actually.
It's like a nice burst Mac 10 spray.
I dig it. Can we listen to it again?
Yes.
Please.
Run that back. Sure.
For the people.
Certainly have the help. JW.
3 members of NIP. He also has to defuse the bomb. And
this is a different round.
And this could be a turning point. Games from Nip, forcing JW out into the open with as safe a plan as they could manage. Just so very well done. Fnatic, however, plenty of money to buy up in this round. They will have all the gear necessary to hold off the push, and they're actually changing it up as well.
Inferno was so ugly.
It's nuts. I mean, everything looks so bad for some reason.
It hasn't actually cost Fnatic yet, but if he keeps doing it, it could really come
Look at this
back to
HUD too.
So
yeah,
sticking webcams in the bottom.
It's like 10 frames.
Passively than we normally see from him. No crazy apartments push, no push up into the window room, and that could be a switch up that Fnatic can do if they need to.
Now, this is something that we've been seeing from Nib quite a bit. 2 men in Banana, and usually it's been Freiburg solo, but Exist is there to support him.
Whoops, this is not the right round.
Changing.
Oh no, it is. It is.
Another one here. JW, it's time to connect. He can't keep doing this. Third strike's coming up. Olofmeister battling it out and will take down Forest. And JW still hasn't got the kill here towards CT spawn. He's going to go for it with the CC.
Man, the way people used to fight, some of these, it's so rambunctious.
Thank God Counter-Strike got better too.
Yeah.
But I think Fnatic have the advantage right now. Bomb only just going down. They're already at the bomb site and they have the health advantage too.
They certainly have the health advantage, and Get Right
Little
just
hand
caught
up
with
there.
his knife out, but Freiburg strikes right back with 8 HP, picks up 1 frag, and turns this into a 2-on-2. JW, he knows that he's going to need the bullets. Reloads, and Pronex and JW now have to move in together and just overwhelm this so very quickly. The smoke going to go down to cut the man off from Flowers. Spray going through, but it's not going to do anything. Existent Ninja, aptly named. He's standing his ground. He gets 1 frag, turns it into a 1v1. JW running out of time. Does he have it? He does not. There is no time for the defuse, and Nip will take the 3rd round on the board.
I think he could have stopped, obviously, at like 3rd.
Yeah,
like there would have been sick. But it was so good. Does he have time? He does not. Like, that's good. I think that was really, really cool. I think he entertained it for a second, which was cool. I think it was probably hard to call at the time, because I think another thing people don't know is like we have game sounds on so much lower than people at home, because we need to be able to hear each other and ourselves. So when it comes to diffuses, sometimes we get like way too invested in whether or not a diffuse could actually come through, when it's pretty obvious that it couldn't, because we can't actually hear the beeping as much. So he does a good job there of like kind of figuring it out fast.
And those are really important times too, I think, for casting, does he have the diffuse or not? It's a chance that Semler takes here. And especially in this moment too, like, there could have been time on that one.
He
so
always takes risks.
Yeah, you've got to take that risk. I mean, you don't have to, but he plays it like he does. You could just always leave those ones open-ended. It's super easy and very commonplace, I think, to just be like, does he have this? I completely just push all of the responsibility of making that call onto the viewer or onto like some, it's a redundant question. Does he have this? I may already know, but if you leave it quizzical, then it's better than cutting off something, or God forbid, just being straight up wrong. Nothing feels worse. Right. It's like, oh, he's got this, and then the bomb explodes.
Explodes all over your face.
Yeah, and then you've got to sit there like, oh, sorry guys.
Yeah, except you can't, because you can't take
exactly.
anybody's time
take anything back,
explaining yourself, because then you have to pretend. You have to remember it's not about you and all this shit, but still, people are going to be on your ass about it.
Yeah, and I think I think it's fair. Okay, I think it's fair to actually kind of pick out the nitty gritty on these sorts of moments, because we're not talking about Anders and Semler now. We're talking about Anders and Semler from 6 or 5 years ago. So obviously their casting has got better. Obviously they are no longer the commentators they were back then. But there's a couple of times in this clip where like I feel like it almost gets away from Semler. When you've got Pronax back inside of Ninja, back inside of Ninja, aptly named. If we play this one again, you can hear his cadence like almost slip out. Like he just barely hangs on, I would say, to the sounds. Like what I am still blown away behind is blown away about is how much better they sound now. How much more aware of their voice and their projection they sound.
Oh my god, yeah, it's crazy.
So that time, right specifically where Pronax needs to be cleared out from the corner, which is going to be one of the most key kills in this round, right? Like his tone is very tinny. He sounds almost maxed out, but he does then bring it. He slips it back and kind of gets a little guttural when he finds the kill before he goes into like the cool bomb send off. And even when he's coming around the corner, JW, he just got that reload. He knows he's going to need the bullets. It's like Sumler still, he's talking about it. I feel like I was the biggest criminal when it came to doing this, was mentioning unnecessary reloads. If I would always, and I had the same saying, I would always use, he gets the fresh magazine in. He's got the fresh mag. And it's like in a 1 versus 1, if he goes from 20 bullets to 30 bullets, is that noteworthy? Or maybe, but
I've never heard you say that, but now that you said it,
man,
I'm extremely aware.
Yeah, I smashed it.
I never
out.
really noticed. Yeah.
I still do it every once in a while to pay homage, but it's like, it's those kinds of things where it's like, I think he realized, like, why am I still talking about this? Like, I need to get back into the execute. I need to get back into the retake. It's like he shifts his attention away because, again, it's just less polish. It's a way less polished product. Now Semler's commentated multiple games professionally. Just casting another game can change up your whole
perspective.
It's all perspective. Yeah, it's different style, it's different cadence, it's different rhythm. So that one almost gets away from him. But again, these guys were forging the formula that people like us then used as the tracks to get into commentary. So so bless their souls.
Yeah.
And all the mistakes they made.
Oh wait, we already played 3 clips each, didn't we?
Yeah, man. And we burned through these ones.
Okay. Well, okay, then I just have a bonus clip. It's just Anders casting a get right 1v3. Just another round that I remember. I guess we can just play that. Why not? Just before we go, bonus clip, extra content. See if this works.
Gonna happen again.
I got it.
Olofmeister guessing through there, not connecting, but Flusher will. That bomb still not down. 10 seconds, 9 seconds. They're gonna have to go for the plant, and Flusher can't guess the angle right this time. It's a 3-on-3. Fnatic last time, the retake didn't work this time. They're feeling more solid. Gerard coming up from behind, but he's also alone in a 1-on-2. Throws out another grenade here, gets up another kill. Is it happening again? Pronax is alone. That bomb is in the middle of nowhere. He's gonna have to sit down in the open. He goes down. Gerard clutches it. It happens again.
Get right, clutches it, nobody. Yeah. Oh man, dude. You can't get that out of anyone for a moment like this these days. You can't. Yeah. That was not even a big deal, dude. I mean that, like, you basically know the clip is what, like, the round is won before that kill happens. It's so early in this game that no one would get this excited these days. So I just love that. I mean, you can hear him like basically grabbing his headset, shaking in his seat. And I just want to play that again, dude. It's like a little kid with Lego or something like Christmas. It's amazing. I love this.
Throws out another grenade here, gets up another kill. Is it happening again? Pronax is alone. That bomb is in the middle of nowhere. He's gonna have to sit down in the open. He goes down. Get right, clutches it. It happens again.
Yeah, I hear the mic now.
God, get right.
You can hear it.
Does it.
He just like shot back in his chair.
On
the room.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's so oh man. And like it has such an effect on you listening, because I remember watching this. I remember that 1v3, but in my mind, when I thought back on it, it looked more impressive. Like the nade hit properly. It like didn't just bounce off the wall, and like third kill was harder to get. But when I watch it back now, I'm like, what the hell? What's so exciting about that?
It's like, when did Counter-Strike get good? That's my, like, even the amount of like just people jumping around corners unnecessarily, like, God,
running spring. Oh my God.
It just looks so sloppy, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're beyond that. But Yeah, this is another time where like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick apart old Anders too. Man, there's almost like monotonous tones at times where like he's just kind of droning in the same sound. Like,
Mhm.
it's not the pronunciation that's wrong. There's nothing technically wrong, but it's just praised to be what has become of Anders' commentary, where
Mhm.
now he doesn't overspeak. If anything, sometimes he'll just let things sit very quietly. He'll
Yeah.
use less words to produce more impact. Whereas back here, he's doing what was, and what still is, I would say, like a more beginner technique where um, you're just putting words out. You're just talking from moment to moment. That whole time that the whole time Get Right's throwing their grenade on the ground before that second kill comes in, before he's able to work his way all the way through construction, it's the same tone. It's the same tone, and it's just words. And
Mhm.
then sure, you get your classic Anders pop off at the end. You get what he does so well and does even better to this day,
Mhm. Yeah, his hype's always been so good.
right?
And yeah,
But I think he's
uh,
he's just fine tuned it. He's cut a lot of the fat out of his commentary.
so crazy
Um,
how I think I've I don't think anyone's like accent has changed as much as his. Like
no.
his voice has changed so much. Uh and he's so easy to listen to talk. Like you could listen to him talk for so long. And when he speaks slowly, he's just as engaging and always unpredictable, I think is a big thing. It's kind of takes bravery to speak slowly because people hang on those words a lot more than if you speak quickly and stuff a lot into every sentence. Can't really sit and think about everything that's said. So I think again, him and similar for that reason, I think were some of the bravest in the style that they decided to cast with and how they still cast today.
And I think that's a note to hit on then with why I think the duo with Moses moving forward, like going from similar to Moses, I think that like stylistically as people and skill sets that comes in because if we think of like the transition from Anders, I mean, you say like how he's very okay with being a slower speaker, and I think that's true both between his commentary and then
Mhm.
also casual conversation, like when you're just spending time with Anders. He's
An
down to
hour will
just
pass and you'll be like, "What the hell did we just talk about?"
what
You'll
did
be
we
like,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Or how did you get from one subject to where you are now? And I think he's very aware of that, because he is collected with his words and his thoughts, and like he'll
Mhm.
he'll think things through, but there's no rush to speak with Anders.
Mhm.
And I think he fine-tuned that in his commentary. Not that I'm super aware of it until you go back 6 years, 5 years, and listen to it, right?
Yeah,
But now it's
totally.
very evident that that's been gone. That's been fine-tuned. And I think that again, stylistically and personally, Moses is that type of character as well.
Mhm.
Um,
It's true.
Moses will just let things kind of brew before he takes his control of it. And when you get the two of them commentating together, now that they have that skill set, I think it gels so nicely because it's very calm. It's very calming until it isn't, and then when it's hype and you have Anders on the mic, like it's just it's S tier.
Mhm.
So it's awesome that he kept his biggest strengths and I think got rid of what you could argue was his biggest weakness.
Mhm. And you can listen to us talk more about Moses. I think last week I spent like a lot of the time talking about the Anders Moses combo and talking a lot about Moses. Week one, we talked about ourselves. And this is a retro throwback week, which is kind of cool to do. Really awesome, actually, to go and hear. And yeah, an audio version would be pretty cool because you don't actually need the visuals from the cast. I mean, you want to see how the games looked and what the moments were exactly, but it can actually heighten, I think, how much you're paying attention to the way things sound if there was an audio only version. So that'd be a cool thought complexity. Um, but yeah, I think that's all we got. There's a lot of clips here today. This is always super fun to do. I think it's like very unique. I don't think anyone really does this stuff. So I really love I also love that I have a reason to go and watch VODs more closely, for different reasons. So we can totally I think there's pretty much endless content we can make out of this, obviously. I think one of the best parts, one of the things I really love about Counter-Strike is how little has changed really in the last few years. And some of that would look at is like, oh, well, that's because like the game never gets updated. But we want the game to slowly move
Yeah.
closer to perfection as opposed to change metas like a MOBA or another game. And it's so cool that, you know, you can compare teams from this year. Like I think shout out to Pythor, he had like he made a fantasy bracket of all the best teams in their eras and then put them up against each other in a Twitter kind of bracket. And it was interesting because you can actually talk about 2015 Fnatic, 2013 NIP in the same conversation. It's mostly the players that have changed and not so much the actual game. The maps have changed a lot. But the amount of tools you have hasn't changed. No new nades or anything like that. So I think it's really cool to be able to not just go back and only compare the casts themselves, but the games themselves to the game we have today, and how actually similar in a lot of ways it is, as different as it is as well. Yeah, so that's awesome. And yeah, thanks you guys for watching, and appreciate you, Complexy. I do also have a podcast. It's on hiatus right now because of unforeseen circumstances. You starting a podcast anytime soon, Scrawny?
Maybe, man. I might try to rival yours.
Sure. I think competition's always good. That's what we've learned from Valorant.
It's very true. That is very true. But you know, and that's I think before we really send this one off, man, if anybody needs to remember where Counter-Strike has come from, I still think the most jarring thing for me is just go back and listen to the old gun sounds. The old M4A1S, the laser beam.
Yeah.
You know,
it was sharp. They're sharp sounds. Very sharp.
Yep. I'm so happy that I stumbled into a game that, you know, when I started learning Counter-Strike, I had no clue what it would become for me specifically, but also that I love that it set itself up to be a legacy game. You know, the fact that you can go back X amount of time and still have these relevant conversations, like it changed organically. It changed when it needed to, not when we wanted it to at times. And man, we're blessed to have this video game.
For sure.
That is all.
All right, enough gushing. We are out of here. Do we have the schedule, Nathan? Okay, let's take a look at the schedule so people can see what we have coming up for Blast, and look at the week of content. You did the second Minecraft special with Obo this past week.
Yes,
that VOD's up on YouTube. There's another clinic, the clinic episode with Frankie with Simple and Kenny S, I believe.
Yep. Simple called Kenny S a noob.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Big news.
And then they've also got the James Banks. I'm trying to rattle these off from memory. James Banks did a wingman.
Mystery
wingman. Cold Zero was in it. Someone else was in it.
Cold Zero, Blame F. Olaf, and
the rest is a mystery. Content every single day, guys. The schedule is on Twitter. It's also on the screen. And yeah, come right back next week for another episode of Making the Cast. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Goodbye.